Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how much distribution income I made this week from high yield ETFs. I'll also be going over some major market news from earlier in this week and providing my commentary on it. But before I get into the video, please smash that like button so the algorithm gods know that I'm here, and hit subscribe if you're new so you're alerted every time I publish a new video about stocks, investing, finance, and news. With that out of the way, guys, let's hop into it. All right, earlier this week, I posted something about 5 new weekly pay ETFs being launched, hopefully on Monday. I don't have a definitive exact date. I haven't seen one, but hopefully they come out on Monday. We're going to have one for MSTR, Microsoft, Google, Broadcom, and AMD. I think these are going to be absolute banger of ETFs that are coming out. I've been waiting for an MSTW to come out for a very long time, so I'm very happy to see this finally come out. But I think AMD is also going to, have a lot of excitement around it. The same goes for Broadcom. I'll be explaining, kind of an idea behind these two as we get into the video. All right, same thing for Google, Microsoft. Now you have the full Mag 7 as weekly pay ETFs. All right, so let's hop into the portfolio. Okay, so this is my portfolio for today. Just on the day, made about $2,300, and then for the week, made about $17,000. All right, that's including dividends plus gains. And then for the month, we are up $39,000. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. All right, again, that is with all the dividend income and everything else, plus the capital gains coming in. All right, we're going to be covering PLTW, NVDW, TSLW, CHPY, and XDTE for this week's distribution income. All right. As I say every time, I use a lot of margin. Don't use margin. This portfolio is very high risk. Do not copy my trades. This can go down very, very quickly. All right. I use a lot of margin, an excessive amount of margin. I use $330,000 of margin out of a possible 341. All right. I'm currently holding on to $10,000 just for some dry gunpowder. My margin risk is very low. I would have to lose $127,000 or suffer a 36% portfolio decline before I start getting into a margin call. All right. Some people think that this is the full, value, the full account value, but really the full account value is $678,000 when you stack on that margin. All right. So, again, I get it every time I post a portfolio update about how dangerous margin is and that I shouldn't be using margin, and people will, put out a public service announcement saying that this portfolio is going to go in the toilet when the market dumps. Everybody's right. All right. Everyone is right. I've held this portfolio pretty much through Liberation Day. All right. When, we saw that 30% decline, 25% for the S&P 500. So I already know what the stress is like. I already know how dangerous margin is. I definitely could have been margin called if another Truth Social post had dropped. Thankfully, it didn't happen. All right. And I always get another question, typically about NAV erosion with these high yield ETFs. All right. So if you want a video on that, I do have a video out in case you haven't seen it yet. NAV erosion, a deep dive into my high yield ETF portfolio. This came out earlier this week. Okay, guys, let's get over all the other stuff and get directly into how much dividend or distribution income I made this week. And we're going to be starting with the Roundhill Palantir Weekly Pay ETF. All right. And I have 1,027 shares of this bad boy, and it's been paying me every single week. All right. This week, it paid me $662. All right. I also have one for Nvidia, which we're going to check out here right now. The Roundhill Nvidia Weekly Pay ETF. All right. This one paid out. Let's see. I have 782 shares of this one. And if we scroll down, this one paid me out $370 this week. All right. So I'm almost pretty much already up to $1,000 this week. And then I opened a new position. This is going to be the first distribution payout I got from this ETF, but I have opened a position in the Roundhill Tesla Weekly Pay ETF. I only own a small position in this, 315 shares. All right. And this one paid out $120 this week. So not bad, definitely not bad. Now, CHPY and XDTE. CHPY is a yield max semiconductor portfolio option income ETF. And XDTE from Roundhill is the S&P 500 0 DTE cover call strategy ETF. I am pre-filming this video, all right, because I will be going on a side quest and won't be able to actually film a video later. So, I'll have all of this kind of rolled up into a nice high-speed notepad for you guys. But yield max, for this one, I have 384 shares. Of course, it hasn't paid out yet because it's not Friday. And then this one, XDTE, I have 1,500 shares. All right, so I already did all the math for you guys. I'm not going to go over the distribution schedules, but, let's look at how much I got paid this week. So for this week, I got paid $1,679. All right. So for this month so far, I made $8,586. We still have 1 week to go. Of course, like I said last week, XPay really juiced up that week, XPay and Misty. So, that's why that week was so crazy. But this week, we'll see what it comes out to. So yeah, that's how much I made. All right, let's get into some market news. So we had some really big stuff happen this week. Trump denies that he plans to fire Powell. It is highly unlikely. When this news broke, the market had a pretty sizable dip. Things had just seemed to have face planted on themselves. But then we saw a recovery later in the day. So let's just kind of understand what happened. All right. So basically, Donald Trump was in a room full of Republican lawmakers, and they were debating or talking about whether they're going to fire the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell. Right. But of course, in perfect Trump fashion, he denied any of that. Instead, while he was meeting with the Bahraini prime minister, he said, we're not planning on doing it, but he doesn't like to rule anything out. And he thinks it's highly unlikely unless he has to leave for fraud. Basically, they're really trying to go after Jerome Powell to remove him so they can lower the interest rates. And now they're using an angle to get at him for that $2.5 billion renovation to the Federal Reserve. So I think that's the angle they're trying to get at. The president asked lawmakers how they felt about firing the Fed chair. They expressed approval for firing him. The president indicated he likely will soon, said the official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to speak candidly on the issue. So we saw, there was also an ex post by I believe a congresswoman saying that the federal chairman Jerome Powell is going to be fired soon. So again, there's a lot of speculation around this. It was good that he cleared it up because the markets recovered soon after. If you guys remember back in April, he said the same exact thing about Jerome Powell and the market took a really nasty dip. So again, it happened. I think the market does not want government interference. They don't want a shadow Fed. The Federal Reserve needs to stay independent. The Federal Reserve, the U.S. Federal Reserve, is one of the most important institutions, not only in the United States, but also in the world. Our monetary policy affects every other country. So again, I think this position shouldn't be taken too lightly. We'll see what happens. Again, we still have interest rates fairly high, and we do want to tackle that. When I say we, I mean the U.S. administration wants to tackle that. Okay, so we also had some other news that the U.S. House passed stablecoin legislation, and now they're sending the bill to Donald Trump to sign. The U.S. House of Reps on Thursday passed a bill to create a regulatory framework for the U.S. dollar-pegged cryptocurrency tokens known as stablecoins, sending the bill to President Donald Trump, who's expected to sign it into law. All right, so again, this kind of plays on to any of the people who are in hood. I think you guys are going to be making out like a bandit. But also anyone who's been kind of investing in those, that new IPO like Circle, ticker CRCL, that stock has been on an absolute rip, but I think, some of the steam is starting to dissipate, and the stock is starting to trade kind of at normal valuations. Anyways, let's continue. All right. House lawmakers also passed two other crypto bills, sending them next to the Senate for consideration. One is laying out the regulatory framework for crypto, and the other would ban the United States from issuing a CBDC. All right. This was one of the bigger conspiracy, things that were going on. Again, I'm not a crypto guy, but I know, I speak to people who are involved in cryptocurrencies, and they said that the CBDC would be a huge threat to crypto. I don't know if that's true. I don't really dig that deep. I will just take their word for it. But the stablecoin bill known as the Genius Act and the crypto market structure bill known as the Clarity Act both received notable bipartisan support, which is really, really cool, but also really rare, especially when it comes to domestic politics. All right, stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency designed to maintain a constant value, usually a one-to-one dollar pegged, are commonly used by crypto traders to move funds between tokens. That's what a stablecoin is. All right, their use has grown rapidly in recent years, and proponents say that they could be used to send payments instantly, which would be cool because, when you think of ACH payments or trying to send payments, to yourself overseas, it could take a while. It could take a couple of days. Sometimes you're also hit with very high fees. All right, so with this, crypto stablecoin thing, you can kind of just send yourself money instantly. And without, the 3 to 5 business day wait period. All right. If signed into law, the stablecoin bill would require tokens to be backed by liquid assets such as US dollars and short-term treasury bills, and for issuers to publicly disclose the composition of their reserves on a monthly basis. I think the biggest part of this one sentence is, tokens would require to be backed by liquid assets such as US dollars and short-term treasury bills. This, in my mind, is basically saying that, fiat currency is going to be in demand. Treasury bills are going to be in demand. All right, so this is a good tailwind, for fiat currency, for USD, and definitely for treasuries. All right, so just my opinion, of course. I know there's going to be some crypto bros and crypto sisters I guess, out there that'll probably have a difference of opinion. Just my thoughts is all right. We also had the Clarity Act sent to the Senate. The Clarity Act, which passed 294 to 134, would critically define when a cryptocurrency is a security or a commodity and clarify the Security and Exchange Commission's jurisdiction over the sector, right? Something crypto companies aggressively disputed during the Biden administration. So now having, a clear guideline or clear guardrails of what is a commodity or what is a security in regards to cryptocurrency is going to be a huge tailwind for cryptocurrencies in general. Again, the U.S. Trump administration has been focused on artificial intelligence and crypto. So making good on that promise, and I'm sure a lot of people in the crypto space are very happy about this. All right, we also have one other big piece of news, which is going to lead me back to my earlier post. All right. What the China export easing means for Nvidia, AMD, and other stocks. As you guys may recall, the United States is involved in a very, very big trade war with China. And we are withholding semiconductors, very powerful artificial intelligence chips like Nvidia's, H20 chips, the Hopper chips, as well as AMD's chips, to be able to be exported to China. China is relying on their Huawei, artificial intelligence chips, but they are not anywhere close to what the low-end Nvidia or AMD chips can provide, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. All right, but now there's news saying that the Trump administration is going to be lowering the restrictions and allowing, not only AMD and Nvidia to be able to ship their semiconductors back to China, but also something else interesting. So let's read. All right, Nvidia and AMD may soon get the green light to sell AI chips to China again, potentially reviving a key growth market. The U.S. government is reportedly considering loosening export restrictions, which could allow the tech giants to resume sales of some lower-end AI chips to China, but those same lower-end AI chips are more powerful than the Huawei chips that they have domestically in China. This policy shift comes after the April's export ban blocked chips such as NVIDIA's H20 and AMD's M1308. Okay, or MI308. All right, this is a game changer, said Dan Ives, all right, managing director of Wedbush Securities. NVIDIA stands to gain billions in annual revenue from China, and every NVIDIA supplier is going to benefit, as well as second and third derivative plays. Keep an eye on this second and third derivative plays, okay? Bank of America raised their price for NVIDIA and AMD to $220 and $175 respectively. All right, so here we go. All right, but this is not just NVIDIA and AMD that stand to gain. All right, if China's cloud and data center build-outs ramp back up, companies like Broadcom, AVGO, and Marvell Technology, or Marvel Technology, MRVL, whose custom chips support AI infrastructure, could benefit. Going back to my earlier post, all right, we have not only AMD coming out from Roundhill, but also Broadcom, AVGO. So I'm really, really excited about Broadcom. I will announce if and when I, open a position in this. I'm definitely really highly considering MSTW or MSTR, weekly pay for sure. But I am really excited, guys. This is a good time, in my opinion, to be an investor in these weekly pay ETFs, especially when we're in such a bullish market right now. This is very bullish for Broadcom, all right, having this kind of news. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. Again, this is a pre-recorded video for the dividend, the weekly dividend income update. So with that being said, go out, touch some grass, guys, this weekend. Go have fun. All right, go get off the computer, get away from finance land, enjoy your weekend. I will see you Monday morning. All right, hope you guys have a great weekend. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.